The Brown family hadn't gathered like this in over a year. Not since the divorce fallout, the split of the wives, and the storm that followed Cody's unraveling. But it was Solomon's birthday, and Robyn had insisted everyone come for the sake of the kids. The party started innocent enough: balloons, cake, half-hearted conversations in the corners. But underneath the smiles and polite greetings was a storm brewing. Gwen Brown, now 22 and sharper than ever, had kept her distance since the family fractured. She had a smile that could slice and a truth-telling streak that spared no one, especially not Robyn. And then there was Madison, Janelle's fiercely loyal daughter, always calm, always watching, until she wasn't. They hadn't planned it. But by 6:45 p.m., it was no longer a party. It was a reckoning. Gwen, Robyn called, her voice overly sweet, trying to bridge the distance between them. "Can we talk for just a second?" Gwen raised an eyebrow but followed her into the hallway. Robyn shut the door behind them and immediately launched into a rehearsed monologue. "I just feel like there's been some misunderstandings. I know people think I tried to divide this family, but—" "You did divide this family," Gwen snapped. Robyn blinked. "You don't get to pretend like you're just misunderstood," Gwen said, folding her arms. "You didn't try to fix this family. You tried to control it." "That's not fair," Robyn whispered. "What's not fair," Gwen shot back, her voice rising, "is watching you cry your way to the top while the rest of us watched our parents' marriages fall apart." Robyn's lip trembled. "You don't know what was happening behind closed doors." "No," Gwen said, stepping closer, "but I saw what happened in front of them." Voices were raised now. People turned from their plates. Kids paused mid-bite. The laughter stopped. And then Madison stood up. "Cody," she said across the table, "you should probably check on that." He barely moved, just shook his head like it wasn't his problem. "Typical," Madison muttered. Then she walked calmly to the hallway, pushed the door open, and stepped into a conversation on the edge of chaos. "You've always made yourself the victim," Gwen was shouting. "You're not the only one who cried when our family fell apart." "I tried to be there for everyone," Robyn said defensively. "But your moms—" "Don't you dare blame our moms." Madison cut in, her voice low and dangerous. "You've been rewriting the story for years, and we're done letting you do it." Robyn turned to Madison, her voice quivering with wounded surprise. "I've never done anything to you." Madison gave her a long, cold stare. "You remember the night Mom and Cody had that fight about Coyote Pass?" she asked. Robyn frowned. "What does that have to do with—" "You called him that night," Madison said. "Told him Janelle wasn't being supportive, that she was turning the kids against him." "That's not—" "You lied," Madison said, louder now. "You told him what he needed to hear so he'd keep running back to you." Robyn shook her head in disbelief. "That's not what happened." "I was there," Madison said, stepping closer. "I heard your call. I listened through the door because I was worried about my mom. And I watched her cry for hours after he drove off. Again." Silence. Even Gwen was stunned. Madison dropped the final line like a gavel in a courtroom. "You broke up this family, Robyn, and we watched you do it with a smile." Robyn stood frozen, her hands shaking. "You think I wanted this," she whispered. "You think I wanted to be the last one standing." "Yes," Gwen and Madison said in unison. Robyn's tears spilled over. "I just wanted love, security. For my kids." "And you got it," Gwen replied, "at the cost of everyone else." The door creaked. Cody appeared, pale and distant. "What's going on?" he asked, voice cracking like he already knew. "Your daughters," Robyn said, turning toward him, "think I ruined everything." Cody looked at Madison, at Gwen, and then down at the floor. "I'm sorry," he said softly. To who, it wasn't clear. But it was the closest he'd come to admitting the truth in years. Drawn by the noise, or maybe intuition, Mary and Janelle stepped into the hallway. Mary glanced at Gwen, then Robyn. "Let me guess. The truth finally came out?" Janelle, calm but stern, looked directly at Robyn. "They're not wrong. And you know it." Robyn turned to Cody, as if begging for backup. But he didn't say a word. Gwen stepped forward, voice quiet but cutting. "You didn't just manipulate him. You made us all question our worth." Robyn opened her mouth, but no words came. "Maybe it wasn't just you," Madison said. "But you were the match, and now we're standing in the ashes." The party ended early. Robyn sat alone on the couch, hugging Solomon, trying to pretend things were okay. But they weren't. Cody left shortly after with barely a word. Mary and Janelle sat on the porch with Gwen and Madison, talking like old friends who had survived a war. Inside, balloons still floated. Cake remained uneaten. Presents untouched. But something else had been unwrapped that night. Truth. The kind that couldn't be taken back. In the days that followed, Gwen posted a video on her YouTube channel titled, "Sister Wives Truth: What Really Happened Behind the Scenes." It went viral in hours. Madison started a blog for Daughters of Polygamy, raw, real, and unapologetic. Mary posted a photo with the caption, "Sometimes you don't need closure, just clarity." And Robyn, she disappeared from social media entirely. The family hadn't healed, but it had cracked open. And sometimes that's the only way new things grow. By Monday morning, Gwen's video had surpassed 2 million views. Titled simply "The Truth About Robyn and the Family," it featured no dramatic music, no clickbait graphics, just her, raw, honest, and unfiltered. "I'm not doing this to hurt anyone," she'd said. "But we were raised on truth, and we deserve it. Robyn manipulated our family, and too many of us stayed quiet while our mothers were broken." Comments flooded in. "I always knew something was off with Robyn. Gwen speaking out is so brave. This changes everything." The Brown name, already tinged with scandal, was back in the spotlight, but now it was the children reclaiming the narrative. In the mansion, Robyn sat alone in the dim living room. The blinds were drawn, the TV muted. Her phone buzzed nonstop, but she didn't answer. Her name was trending again, and not for the reason she once hoped. Her kids had questions. "Mom, why are people saying you ruined the family?" Solomon asked gently. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she knelt down, held his hand, and whispered, "People don't always understand what really happened. But I never wanted to hurt anyone." But the mirror said otherwise. And Robyn, finally, didn't argue back. Chapter 10. Cody's Breaking Point. Cody hadn't slept. He paced in his apartment. Yes, apartment, the one he moved into after things fell apart. The silence gnawed at him louder than the kids ever had. He clicked on Gwen's video again. When she spoke about Robyn's favoritism, the fake tears, and the emotional triangulation, he flinched. Because deep down, he remembered it all. And worse, he remembered defending it. Then he pulled up Madison's blog, the one titled, "When You Watch Your Mother Become Invisible." It hit harder. She used to be vibrant, Madison had written. Strong. Soft. Then she became a ghost in her own marriage. And I blame them both. For the first time, Cody asked the question he'd avoided. Was I the villain? Christine Brown hadn't planned to get involved. She had left, started a new life, and been the first to truly break free. But when Gwen's video popped up in her feed, she clicked and cried. Not just for herself, but for the children she'd tried to shield. She booked a ticket back to Flagstaff. When she arrived, Gwen greeted her with a tight hug and tearful smile. "You did the right thing leaving," Gwen whispered. Christine shook her head. "I should have taken you with me." It was Christine's idea. A private gathering at Janelle's place. No Cody, no Robyn, just the kids and the original 3 wives. Mary, Janelle, Christine, Gwen, Madison, Logan, Garrison, and even Mike Kelty joined via Zoom. It was a mix of therapy, truth-telling, and grief. Christine started. "We lost years to silence, but our kids are breaking the curse." Mary nodded. "I was afraid to speak up. For so long. Afraid it would make me look bitter." "You weren't bitter," Gwen said. "You were buried." They all cried. And Madison finally said what no one had dared. "We should tell the whole story. A book. A docuseries. Our version." No one objected. 3 weeks later, Robyn finally broke her silence. In a shaky Instagram Live, she addressed the world. "I never wanted to be the favorite. I didn't realize I was until it was too late. And I didn't stop it. That's my guilt, and I'll carry it." She looked exhausted. Thinner, her usual glam replaced by raw honesty. "I owe apologies. To Mary, to Janelle, to Christine, and to the kids who saw more than we ever realized. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. Still, the comments were split. Too little, too late. This doesn't erase the years of pain. Apologizing isn't the same as making it right." And deep down, Robyn knew they were right. Then, unexpectedly, Cody went live. No handlers, no reality TV crew. Just a man on his couch with puffy eyes and a cup of cold coffee. "I failed," he said, voice shaking. "I thought I could be a leader, a husband to many, a father to all. But I made choices that destroyed the very thing I claimed to protect." He paused, lips straight at the camera. "Robyn didn't destroy this family alone. I did it too. I prioritized comfort over conflict, avoidance over truth." He sighed. "This is my goodbye to the image I tried to protect." And then he signed off. For good, Madison sat across from a network executive in the pitch deck in hand. "This isn't a reboot," she said firmly. "It's a reframe. This is the story of the kids. The truth behind the show. The version we were too young, or too afraid, to tell before." The exec flipped through the slides, raw childhood photos, clips from Gwen's viral video, snippets from Christine's recent interviews. "We call it After the Wives," Madison said. "Because what happened after is the real story." The room was silent. Then the exec nodded. "I want it." Christine and Janelle visited Mary's retreat center in Utah on a bright spring morning. Gwen tagged along, camera in hand, helping document everything for the upcoming project. Mary greeted them with a warm hug. "I never thought we'd sit at the same table again," she said. "I never thought I'd miss it," Christine added. Janelle smiled, her hand around a mug of chamomile. "Turns out we were always stronger together, once we removed the one person pulling us apart." There was no venom in her voice, just truth. And this time, truth didn't burn. It healed. Weeks later, Gwen received a handwritten letter in the mail. From Robyn. "Dear Gwen, I watched your video. Every second. It hurt, but it also helped me see what I never allowed myself to hear. I'm sorry for how I made you feel unseen, for letting my need to be loved silence yours. I wish I could undo the damage, but I can't. What I can do is step aside. Let your voices be louder now. You earned that right. Robyn. Gwen folded the letter and placed it in a journal labeled, "This is where the cycle ends." The premiere of After the Wives aired 6 months later. Miri hosted a small watch party at her retreat. Janelle and Christine joined her, surrounded by children, grandchildren, and a few close friends. Madison and Gwen streamed it from New York, live tweeting the entire time. The series didn't sugarcoat. It told the story of betrayal, favoritism, lost faith, and personal resurrection. It showed the Browns not as reality stars, but as survivors of a flawed dream. Viewers cried, applauded, and in many ways, healed with them. The response was overwhelming. The most honest docuseries I've ever seen. This isn't about polygamy. It's about courage. Gwen and Madison are national treasures. The ratings soared. But more importantly, the family silence was finally broken. Chapter 19, Generational Shift. Later that year, Gwen gave a TED talk titled, "Growing Up in a Shared Marriage and Finding My Individual Voice." Madison published her memoir, Daughter of the Divide. And Logan, the often quiet oldest Brown child, created a nonprofit for children navigating religious trauma, inspired by his siblings' bravery. Miri expanded her retreat into a full women's healing center. Janelle bought a piece of land in New Mexico, building a sustainable community for single mothers. Christine remarried quietly, this time to a man who held no illusions of control. She wore yellow. And Cody? He stayed out of the spotlight, watching from afar, finally silent. Years later, Gwen would be asked in an interview, "If you could go back and change one thing, would you?" She smiled thoughtfully. "No," she said, "because the fire we went through forged something better. We lost a family, but we found ourselves." She paused. And sometimes that's the better ending. In a final scene from After the Wives, Gwen and Madison sat together on a porch swing, the sun setting behind them. Madison turned to her. "Still think we were too loud?" Gwen grinned. "Nope, just loud enough." They clinked their iced teas and watched the stars come out. Not as victims, but as authors of the new Brown family story.